Florida Horse Park was actually created in 1996 under the Department of Agriculture. It was reorganized in 2005, but it really didn't take off until about the last 5 years. I think the Florida legislator kind of realized how valuable the park was to the community, to Marion County, and to Florida itself. So they kind of started supporting it, and we're very excited to get their support and continue the growth.
I'm really excited about some of the recent changes here at the park. The new arenas, the Martin Collins Clop Fiber arenas, were a huge added benefit and will allow us to bring in better, bigger shows, especially for dressage, eventing, and the hunter jumpers.
Our goal is to obviously create an international competition facility that encompasses all breeds, all disciplines. We've got plans to promote the education of agriculture and the equine disciplines, and just make the facility just an all-out facility for the people of Marion County, the people of Florida, the United States, and the international community.
I've been coming to the park for years. My wife rides and competes here. I come out and ride with her as well. So working here for me is more of an opportunity to really move things forward and see a great facility grow, something that I've used for a long time myself.
New events that have never been here before, and bigger events. We're really looking to get the community involved and be part of the team.
For me, the Florida Horse Park is a sign of economic growth. So the more advanced we get as the Florida Horse Park, the more business we bring to the economy.
We have 5K runs, we have festivals, we have rodeos, we have car shows, we have war reenactments. We literally have something for everybody, and that's what truly makes the park unique.
We get people from Barbados, from all over Europe, everywhere, and it's wonderful, and all the different events and horses they bring along with them.
We're welcoming back Jay Hambley as course designer and builder. Jay is building for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Jay has also built 2008 Beijing Olympics. We're also excited to welcome back veteran course builders, Tommy Neneman and Mark McCleary. They've been at the park for years, so we're excited to have them back.
We have a airway aerator that we just got to help improve our footing, keep everything as soft as possible for the competitors. We also have 600 yards worth of irrigation line that we can move to just about anywhere out on the cross-country course. And we can get it to almost anywhere on property to help irrigate the grounds, keep things looking green, and also keep the footing soft on the courses.
We really encourage spectators to come out for every show, but especially the eventing shows. It's basically the triathlon, but for horses. We have 3 different phases: dressage, show jumping, cross country. Saturdays are the best day to come because all 3 phases are running and you can see a little bit of everything.
Even though we are located in the horse capital of the world, Marion County, we are definitely Florida's horse park.
The weather has been quite hot and partly, nice cumulus clouds, so partly cloudy for the last 2 days. Today it's overcast and there's a super breeze, so we're very grateful for the weather. So we have the CCI 2-star just getting ready to start their show jumping, and we've got a big group of horses, very, very tight scores, and first horse is on course.
Yep, so we're already actually through halfway through this course, 7A and B. This is actually a really beautiful Chris Bernard course. It's I think it was quite open, nice and gallopy for the young horses. But he does a beautiful job. We're lucky to have him here in Ocala.
Yeah, he's a great course designer, and course designers, they're so important both in cross country and show jumping in our sport that they understand what the level is and what their goal is with their courses in terms of, certainly at this level, is to be able to help the riders educate the horses for the questions that would happen in the next level and beyond.
Absolutely.
So Jessie Phoenix is the first rider up. She's on her...
No, I think we're actually
here.
down. I think that she was the first rider in the 3 stars, so now we're down in the 2 stars.
Oh, right, there you go.
Sorry, we're just catching up.
I know, I just got here. Here we go. Ashley Connor.
So I think now we've got Nielsen here in the arena getting going. Hopefully you guys can hear us. That wind is picking up. It's keeping our horses nice and cool though, so that's nice. So we've got a nice shot in over Noxer, and then it's a good 9 strides down to our second jump. The horse is a little disunited there, but leaves the rails up. And then a rollback turn to number 3, which is probably the tightest of all the rollbacks on the track.
And having done that, then the riders go all the way across the arena to the line that the 3-star did in their course. They left out 1 jump, but you have a nice 7 strides between an Oxer right by the VIP and this vertical with Liverpool. Nilsson's horse is a little bit against the hand and slightly out of balance and dropping in his back. So when that happens, the front legs don't have time to take care of the front rail.
Yeah, and a lot of these young horses, it's their first real long event. It's their first real fitness test yesterday, and sometimes they come out and they just feel a little different than the horse that we normally know throughout the season. So this will be an educational round for Nielsen with this horse. He's a super professional, and he'll kind of take this to the drawing board and try and figure out what's going to help this horse a little bit more on the third day.
Well, and Nilsson's very popular in the sport here. He's rides for Brazil and has competed for Brazil. And here he's just bringing his nice young horses along. He's got some great support and students. But I think he'll be disappointed with this horse that the horse didn't come around for him a little bit better. He caught everything with the front legs on the way up. So he'll need to rethink that when it's on the third day of a pretty big weekend.
For sure, for sure. It kind of foreshadowed it a little bit after jumping well into the first Oxer, and then just a little not connected to the second fence, and that kind of flowed through the course, which was unfortunate. So we wait for our third rider. They're kind of shooting him in there.
Yeah, Caitlin Samuels on Ballysalmon Cavalier. Some of these horses at the two-star level, they come from all over the country, and I don't know some of them. So between Sinead and I, we will try to cover everybody.
Yes, absolutely.
With the inside story, right?
And if we don't know it, ladies and gentlemen, we'll make it up.
You know, the Florida Horse Park has improved so much over the last 3 or 4 years. They have beautiful, beautiful stabling now. Amazing covered arena. The footing in the multiple arenas is outstanding, and the backdrop is great because it's flat out on the cross country, so the riders are able to have a good rhythm, and they're able to have spectators see a lot of the jumps out there. Here we go with our third rider.
Strong conversation there. Nice, careful little jumper. I'm not sure if the horse got a little distracted coming to the first fence, and the rider just had to come in and give a little correction there, but Caitlin did a great job.
Ballysalmon Cavalier, it's obviously Irish horse with the Cavalier background, which has always been a great breeding line for eventing horses. That horse jumps the Liverpool lovely. He's a careful horse, but it's also in a little bit more uphill balance, but still soft enough in the top line so that she can be accurate. There, she missed the distance, and unfortunately, the horse didn't have the chance to get out of there.
Yeah, got a little close. You could see even to the Liverpool, she gave him a lot of room in front of the Liverpool, and he cleared it really great. And that one just got a little snug to it, but sharpened him up for the double there.
Oh, did the same move again. For me, she needs to just a little bit stay supportive in that last stride so that the balance doesn't drop in front of her in the last stride. It's coming around to the final triple.
It's a little snug there again. Oh, lucky last pull.
Yeah. Time's okay, I think, and it's a good workmanship round, isn't it? I mean, she would have loved to have had a clear, but she will certainly take that information for the next time.
Well, sure. I mean, it's super jumping horse, really nice rhythm. Just
Look
a
at the
couple
temperament.
little mistakes.
Super
in the middle.
relaxed about his job.
Totally.
It's awesome.
Very happy. And that, out here, what we all as horsemen want to feel is that our horse is happy on the third day, and that horse looks happy. She's giving him a pat. Or unless this is our next rider coming in.
That's the next rider?
I think it could be. There's a little glare out here, so we're struggling as well.
We see the screen, but it's very, very hard. We have to. We're not that close to the arena.
And Karen and I are a little older.
Well, I couldn't see it with my readers either. I need those big, huge, dark ones that go wrap all the way around.
So this is Claire Howard on Eurostar.
Another very careful horse. She needs to get the balance, but also gets the lead there. He's landed on the left lead, makes the turn and cross canters, and then in the last 3 strides, he takes the outside lead for his balance.
And, you know,
Very
and I've
normal to do that.
Yeah, and I've seen it a lot today, and it just goes back to, talking about when you're looking at buying horses or working or schooling your horses at home. We spend so much time, practicing our jumping and our dressage, but whereas a flying change is so important in our show jumping, if the horses can do a clean flying change, it's just going to make your job so much easier. Already the first 3 or 4 horses, there's just been little mistakes because of a disunited canter or
When I first started competing at the upper levels, we didn't have the flying change in the dressage, so we never practiced it ever, because the idea was if you taught the horse flying change, then they were going to change in the counter canter.
Right.
That's the level of dressage that we were doing.
Yeah.
In fact.
Yeah.
And now we teach the 4-year-olds when we break them. One of the
Absolutely.
first things they learn is flying change.
Absolutely.
And it's in show jumping position.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a lot of collection to it, but they have to learn to stay balanced
Yeah.
laterally as well as longitudinally.
Yeah, and it's just as a rider and as a horse, the job is to make it easy on everyone, right? And if the horse's canter is straight and correct, it's going to be easier to leave the poles up.
Claire's really working for that last line in the triple combination.
And that's a lot of times, what you'll see again on the third day of a long format
Sure.
is that the horses are a little tired and the canter just gets a little weaker. So anything.
She's raising her hands like, what happened? What happened?
Oh, I know, bless her.
Jimmy
Well, the
always
horse
told
looked
me there's 3 kinds of riders. There's riders that make it happen, there are riders that wait for it to happen, and then there's riders that wonder what happened.
That's
a Jimmy.
Yeah,
That's totally Jimmy,
That's
isn't it?
very quotable, as it just was.
So now we have Heather Jane Morris. I don't know.
This looks like it's yes.
Yeah,
This
that's
looks like
definitely not
Buck.
Heather Morris.
Yeah,
That is Buck Davidson all day long.
I didn't want to offend anyone, so I held my tongue for a second. Oh, this is a jumper. And you can already tell from the word go, the horse has a lovely rhythm, a lovely canter. Buck is already carving his lines out beautifully, giving the horse plenty of time.
There, I mean, the horse lands on the right lead and he has it switched in the very first stride.
Exactly.
And I mean, that's the importance of the education for the horse.
Yeah. And just because it's not in the dressage test until 4-star doesn't mean they don't need to learn it. Like you said earlier,
If they're doing flying changes out in the paddock when they're 3, then they
Yeah.
know how to do flying changes.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's got his flare strip on there, and flare strips are, for any of you guys watching at home, it's a little bit like a nasal strip. It's just to help our horses breathe a little bit
That's
better.
the white patch, you mean?
Yep. And we use them a lot on cross country, a lot in show jumping, especially here when it's so hot, honestly. Any little thing that we can help these horses, these athletes, to make their job easier, we're going to do it. So Buck has got that nice flare strip on this horse. Oh, unfortunate pull
That's-
behind. I didn't see
that's
that
sad.
coming. So this is Cooley Candyman. And Cooley is a prefix of Richard and Georgie Shane over in Wicklow in Ireland. They produce and sell a lot of young horses to people all over the world, and you're pretty much guaranteed you're going to get a great moving, great jumping youngster. And their kind of business model is to sell to professionals and amateurs and whatnot, and for them to go on and produce. They start with a lovely quality, and I don't think there's anyone on the circuit that hasn't ridden or purchased or worked with a Cooley horse at this stage. They're wonderful people. So that was too bad. It looked like he had eight unfortunate faults, which was surprising, actually. So we've got, I'm assuming this is Megan on Red Lion.
Oh,
First one down.
that's just such a shame when you have the first fence down.
Yep.
I always say the 2 that are the hardest to swallow are the first fence and the back rail of the triple
Yeah.
bar.
And you can see again the horse is disunited.
And that makes their coordination very different.
Yes. It's at the first 3, and the horse got a very high head carriage, which we always like a horse to be nice and uphill, and I'm sure this horse is a great cross country horse and easy to gallop across the ground, but in the show jumping it can be a little bit tough when it comes past the point of almost inverted and they get a bit braced in the back, which makes it harder to jump.
Well, and I think we always have to remember that it's a core strength
Yep.
sport. Jumping takes the core of the horse, and it's the core that has to be developed.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about bringing the back up, but it's because you want the core to get strong,
Yeah. Absolutely.
so that the horse can jump round and higher.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if the shape of the horse naturally is the other way, it takes a long time to
To
develop it.
change it. And like we say on the third day of a long event, normally it's going to highlight the issues, right?
Right.
Like as she came around the turn to the last double there, the horse actually started to soften over the top line, and you could tell 3 or 4 strides out he was going to jump well.
Right.
But here he's just starting to brace on the straight lines again. And
Well, like
just-
now that she comes around, she should be doing maybe a lot of work getting that top line to relax again.
Mhm.
The work is done between the jumps, not
Mhm.
at the jump. That's better.
Yeah. And it's hard when you're in here and, being a young rider, or this is your first time out, and things all of a sudden start going wrong. And, it's a quick 83 seconds in there, to
it's-
make
your,
some
your
decisions.
mind is racing.
Yeah. So, she'll come out and her coach will be there and they'll have a chat about it and try and figure out, because now the horse is quite, softening. And if she could get him to canter around like that, I guarantee you some of those
Well,
bulls would
it
stay
is
up.
bringing the flat work into the
Mhm.
jumping,
Mhm.
and whether it's cross country or show jumping, the horses have to bring that education all the way through.
Yeah, and especially if like I love a good thoroughbred, but the thoroughbreds are a little bit weaker over their top line
Yeah.
most of the time, and they need to work a little bit more for the ones that are not specifically bred to show jump. Like any of us, we all have to work on our weaknesses more.
Sad but true.
I mean, I wouldn't. I don't have any.
Of course.
That's what I've heard.
And your strengths?
Uh,
Your beautiful daughter.
My daughter. I have a son.
And your son. Your beautiful son. Oh, that was the other rider.
That was the other one.
There's so many babies on
There's
this
so
property.
many babies.
So
I know.
everybody's
I
having a
was like,
baby.
that's obviously I have no strengths if I have a beautiful daughter, because I don't have one.
Aw. Okay, boy, I put my foot in my mouth. Let's get back to show jumping.
Okay, and show jumping. This I'm assuming is Catherine Morel on Carry On with a K. We've got this nice kind of 6 oxer in the middle that breaks the course up, and that actually on the past few rounds where there were some struggles in the beginning, the riders seemed to catch the rhythm again at 6, and then coming around to this double kind of put them back on their step, which was a nice thing in there for Chris to kind of
And-
break it up a little bit.
And this horse is fighting a little bit in the mouth, but she still has some sort of a connection from the engagement, and it's a very careful horse.
Yeah. There are definitely horses that want to clear the poles, that want to jump clean, and it does everything. Might not be perfect, and they still understand the job is to keep the poles in the cups, and that's what we all want to be sitting on,
That's
right?
a shame, because basically the horse, I believe this horse thinks he's very careful.
Mm-hmm.
So she had the one down. Not so easy to jump a clear around this afternoon.
No.
It is humid. They did have a big track yesterday, and it's been a long, long weekend. There's been
Yeah.
400 and some odd horses here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a big competition.
And it's still going. I think my last ride is at 5:08 tonight.
Wow. And it is, they've had, 5 arenas going,
Yeah.
dressage arenas, at the same time cross country's going, and and show jumping's going. It's been a lot of things.
A lot going on.
But really fun event. Can you hear that wind? We are like having this thing where they're now holding the tent down and the TV screens, and NEM!
But somehow we're going to survive this.
Save yourself.
I know.
Not time for me.
I know. So this looks like Samantha McCleary on Fernhill First Choice. And Fernhill is a prefix just like the Cooley horses. Carol G in Ireland as well sources a lot of these Fernhill horses, and they're a lot of brilliant top 4 and 5 star horses, young rider horses. They're all over the map, and they're a real quality horse.
Made a big effort there
Yeah, that's that number 6, and then you just roll back on this
to the combination.
double. And you can see she's riding in 2 reins. How do you feel about riding in The 2 reins.
Well, in show jumping, there's no question it takes a bit of, it's a craft. It takes a bit of time to learn how to be accurate with the 2 reins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of doing it cross country because when you slip your reins over a big drop, I'm just not
It's
that
a lot more to
It's just a lot of things.
organize.
I'm just not that coordinated.
Ugh.
So I always used a converter. This horse, just when he runs out of room, he's going a little bit too far across the ground. When he runs out of room, he loses his shape sideways, and he
Yeah.
makes that twist, which is never a method to get higher. It's a method to jump in 2 pieces, jump the front end and then jump the back end, and it usually results in jumping lower. I think in show jumping, the 2 reins can work just fine. but
Yeah.
You have to get good at it.
You have to be good at it.
Because the
Yeah.
horse is very sensitive to the bottom rein.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think this is
Could be Laura
Laura Zarimi
Zerimi.
and Altrex robustus. Whoa.
Big effort there.
Yeah, he's all the way up. Oh, no, bless him.
So he didn't actually leave the ground behind. So even if he had kept going, that would have had to reapproach because he never left the ground behind. Sometimes when they have a terrible mistake like that, they jump like a bunny and it still all knocks down, but they have left the ground so they
can carry on.
But he sat down and never left behind, so she couldn't carry on.
That was surprising after how well he jumped the first
You know,
jump.
when we walked the course, I went to Wayne Quarles, who's the judge, and there was concern with the high winds. They have a lot of ferns out there,
Yeah.
and the high winds of the ferns were blowing terribly.
Mm.
And they had them on either side of the first fence, and he did move those, but they also had ferns in a lot of these jumps, and they're just, you see the fern that's just in front, and they're moving really fast, and it
It's
could be that he just took his eye off.
Yeah, because it certainly looked like a careful horse, and he might have just gotten a little too
See,
careful.
I don't, look how good he jumps. I
Mhm.
don't think that I think it just was a oopsie-daisy.
Yeah.
He took his eye off the jump and was spooking a little bit at the fern.
Oh, come on.
Come on,
she's
get in
gonna
there.
have to-
Go on. She has to get his confidence again by getting him back out in front of
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
Send him forward, take him back, send him forward. There's plenty of room in a couple of places like
Yeah,
here. She should gallop, get going, bring him back, get going again so he can stay in front of the leg. There he
He's
tries really
very,
hard
yeah.
behind.
Very careful.
And when they make that effort behind, they gallop away. If you don't give them a job and you leave them empty, they sort of say, "Well, I don't know.
Yeah. He's looking a little stronger now, and she's
Yeah.
going to need to keep it up because the last combination is a triple.
Yep.
And he's going to need all of that confidence.
And she needs a good shot into it too.
Mhm.
Now just send him forward. Get going. She got a great
Yeah.
shot into it, so she should be okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Good recovery.
Yeah.
Because the horse had trouble, lost his confidence a little bit at that stop. I think that would be very unusual for him. And she did a good job throughout the rest of the round.
Yeah, getting him back going
Uh-huh.
again. That's hard when that happens, especially fence too. You got a lot more jumps to jump, and if you
Holy
have something
guacamole.
unusual like that happen, to know that you need to be accurate and you need to get him back in front of your leg. It's not just about going faster. It's about truly being in front of the leg and riding an accurate ride to give the horses confidence. So this might be Becky Staden.
Staden. Horse is really trying for, it's great to see a horse have a relationship with a rider where they know each other, and the horse is really giving her a good ride.
Yeah, this I think so far has really been the most kind of confident, forward, accurate ride that we've
absolutely.
seen.
She makes her turn and sees a good distance coming forward.
Yeah,
And then
Yeah.
she also is very good at getting away from the jump
Yeah.
to keep the horse in front of her.
yeah. And this course, when I walked it, that's what I felt this course was. It was nice and open and forward, and you could really kind
Right.
of keep your rhythm up.
And she's got a very active canter.
Mm-hmm.
And then she sees how she lands there, and she's working the horse's top line. She knows she has that triple combination coming up, and she comes out of the turn and sends the horse forward. I like it a lot.
Yeah. And
Good
a
for her, and she gets
well-deserved
rewarded.
clear round. Yeah,
Gets
super
rewarded.
nice to see. You know, and we are doing this class in reverse order. So as we carry on towards the top of the leaderboard, we should start to see more consistent rounds. You know, the horses that maybe had some trouble on cross country or maybe are a little greener, would see those horses first. And as we carry on through, I think we'll start to see some smoother rounds. So I think this is Sierra Shirts on Zach Ad P. Nice flying change there. That's what we're talking about. Then he got a lot more coordinated as he came around the turn. Same thing. She's carrying the rhythm through the course, which just gives you a little bit better feeling about how successful the round's going to be. It's again making the job as easy as possible.
This horse has tons of energy from
Yeah.
yesterday, huh?
Yeah. Nice clean change again
Yep.
around the turn.
Active in. They have to a little bit be careful to make sure they jump that oxer absolutely straight.
Yeah,
And don't allow
little
the
right
horses
drift.
to turn and look for the right hand corner on the landing because they
Mhm.
come down on that back rail.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Looks like her bell boot came off.
Yeah.
Hopefully not the shoe with it. Whoa.
Not sure what happened there.
Well, you're seeing it head on, but there was definitely a miscommunication
Yeah.
at the first fence, but he took care of it. So well done her. She got jumped. I think it jumped clear.
Yeah, I
out.
think it was clear round. Great. And again, another horse that came in confident and positive and forward. And because of that, the horse was able to easily make up for a little
Exactly.
miscommunication on the way into the triple. And then we've got Nielsen again coming in his second ride, DeNova. So hopefully he will have a little better round on this one than on the first one.
Well, Sinead, I have a student, Ben Noonan, who goes in about 8 or 9 horses. I'm going to go to the warm-up arena
Yeah.
and
Go
get
train
him.
him
And
up.
then as soon as he's finished, I'll come on back for that last 15 or so.
Sounds great.
All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll be
Sounds
right back.
great. So Nielsen already looking like he's planning to have a little bit of a smoother go on this one. And this horse is a little bit of an unusual style, but we there's technique and there's scope, right? And both are important, but sometimes horses have different levels of both. And this horse has a ton of scope. He really wants to get up in there, but you can see from the view up front that he doesn't always have a style up front. He's got a little bit of a unique style, but as long as he wants to jump careful, which he does, you see how he just really jumps up and around the fences. That technique, ultimately he'll develop one that's a little bit more consistent, but as long as he's careful and he has enough scope to deal with the height, the technique isn't always paramount. And I think the thing here, Nielsen's done a very good job because I think Nielsen is not, surprised by that. He gave the horse a really great ride, really confident, and, didn't tell the horse anything was wrong with the way that he was jumping. And I think that's a big thing for a young horse and young people and young riders and whatnot, is to fill them with confidence, not tell them what they're doing wrong, just keep them positive and tell them what they're doing right. And he kept a nice rhythm and gave the horse a great ride so that he was able to use his natural scope to cope with the fact that his technique is a little unusual. All right, so now we have Davina Mottershead on your next big win. This This is, again, another horse that looks like it really gets up in the air. And Chris has given us a nice ascending oxer to start the course, and that's really a confidence builder. It's getting these horses and riders forward and in front of the leg and coming in on a place that hopefully they'll have a positive first jump, and that rhythm will flow through the rest of the course. This horse is a little similar to Nielsen's horses, that it's got a lot of scope. There, it was quite good actually up front. A lot of scope, and sometimes is a little slower up front, but really makes up for it with its push and jump behind. It looks actually pretty fun to ride. It just pops up and around the jumps. Oh, that's where the style just caught up just a little bit. You know, in the combinations, the doubles, the triples, it's all about the recovery time, right? The horse is obviously going to land front end first. It takes sometimes a stride or two to recover. And as the horses mature, they learn to kind of really rock back a little bit quicker and be able to push off their hocks sooner. The way that this horse jumps, he pushes himself a little bit high behind, lands a little low, and it's hard for him to get back up again so he can sit down. And sometimes that hind end just pushes him a little bit into the front rail. You know, that's a horse I'm sure she does a lot of gymnastics with, and placing poles on the back rails of fences so that the horse can just learn on his own to come in and sit down on the backside of fences. That's something that confidence-wise that we would want to spend a lot of time teaching the horse the technique of how to do that on his own, because there's only so much one can do, you know, on the landing side of a fence without becoming more of an interference. So this is Kendall Lahari on Audacious. Kendall's been very busy this weekend. I've seen her on multiple horses around the place. She is one of our Canadian riders, which I think there have been more maple leafs here than American flags, which has been fun. Everybody's kind of down at the event thinking about the Pan Ams. This division is more horses for the future, but in the 3-star long, you've got a lot of people getting their qualifiers for the Pan American Games this summer. And Kendall has been one of the top Canadian riders for a while now, and comes down to Ocala for the winter, and I'm assuming is thinking about heading back up north after this competition. This is kind of the ending of our Florida season. Just looks like he's settling into the round a little bit. You can see he's just a little fussy when Kendall tries to help him out and kind of say, hey, I walked this course, I know where we're going, let's settle down a little bit. He just gets a little reactive in the bridle. You know, we kind of say we like the horses to accept the bit. You know, it's a means to communicate, to help, and he gets a little offended by that when she tries to help out a little. But they seem to have come to a compromise and finished that out quite well. Okay, and now we have Katie Ruppel on a Sportsfield Diamond. I believe Katie was in here commentating for the 3-star earlier. It's a nice way to pass the time so they don't get too nervous about horses that you're riding later in the day. I'm sure this is a nice young horse for Katie. Katie has a barn full of some beautiful established horses and some really nice young horses. And she tends to be quite good in the show jumping phase, so this should be a nice round to watch. So she's just circling around. I'm just wondering, you salute the judge, they blow a whistle before you're allowed to go and jump that first jump. So they might be picking up some of the rails or adjusting some of the jumps, because obviously she is waiting to hear that whistle, and then she's got 45 seconds to make it to the first jump, which is actually a long time. So she's still keeping the horse fresh, cantering around. Probably see her open up that step a little bit once we hear that whistle blow. Here she starts to open the stride up a little. All of these, well, most of these lines are set on what we would say a 12-foot stride, and we kind of assume an average step of a horse is 12 feet. And so our rhythm when we're starting our courses, we really want to get the horse as close to a 12-foot stride as we can. Right now she's working on the rideability and the adjustability, but I would say the step is a little bit under that 12-foot stride. So once she opens up the step, that's the thing with a lot of our eventing horses, have to have the ability to do a 9-foot step, a 12-foot step. When they're galloping, sometimes they can be on a 14, 15, 16-foot step. And then somewhere in there, we've got to find the rhythm of it all. So the key is to have an adjustable and rideable horse. So here, obviously, they've sent her on her way. A good jumping horse, but you can see the little bit of resistance there, and that's why I believe when she started she was really working on the rideability, making sure the horse was through, accepting the contact, because she probably knows that this guy has a little bit of an opinion, little keen when he sees the fences, and that's not a bad thing. It's most of the time a young horse thing. They get excited about the job, they want to run and jump, and they don't always care too much about what we have to say on their back. But that's an instinct we don't really want to get rid of. We just try and find a compromise, because this is a super jumping horse. And you can see the more he's jumping and the more he's cantering around and the more that he's realizing what the job is, the smoother and happier he is about doing it. I would say this horse is quite fun cross country. Out on cross country, a lot of our horses that are a little bit more blood, meaning that they're a little bit more thoroughbred blood, they're a little bit more keen to run. You know, you put them in a nice open cross country field and you let them kind of gallop it out, they get a lot happier than when we confine them in the show jumping or the dressage ring. You know, especially after a long day like yesterday, to bring them back and collect them and have them quiet and rideable and adjustable on a Sunday can sometimes be a tall order, but Katie did a really good job. All right, this is Mary Beth Davis and Firestone. I actually saw this horse warming up the other day and made a comment to Mary Beth how beautiful it was. It's a really, really lovely type. So I'm excited to see it jump. Yep, and it jumps. You know, we say a lovely type. There's a real kind of stamp of a horse, a real short-backed and uphill athletic look. That is something that as event riders we always kind of notice when someone's riding around on that type of stamp of a horse, because you just know it's going to be an athlete, you know that it's going to be fun to watch, and this horse was just really caught my eye, and I'm equally as impressed with watching it jump. This one should be an exciting one for Mary Beth, who has been doing this a long time, and when we get one like this in our barn, we get pretty excited, so I'm sure she's very excited about this horse. Oh, that's unfortunate. We've seen that a few times. The horse is just drifting a little bit right at the end of that. That in and out is right next to the judges' stand. There's a timer and a big stand there, so some of them are a little spooky and they just feel the pressure of that and move a little bit to the right, which looked like that happened there. And again, another unlucky one where he just didn't quite rock back. That 6 strides is actually a bit short. So Mary Beth Davis had a bit of a again, a little miscommunication. She said for him to settle down, and he said, I got it. But it's a 6 stride going down towards the in gate, so the horses do tend to have that draw towards home. But so an unlucky 2 down, but I do not think that will really mar this horse's career. It's beautiful, beautiful type, and certainly has the jump, so she will iron that out. So this is Autumn Schweiss, and this is Global Invito DHI. So Autumn is another Florida resident. She has a beautiful farm down here in Ocala, right down the road from the Laws. And she has several nice young horses as well, as a couple of 4- and 5-star horses. And you're rarely going to see her on something that doesn't jump great. So I would, expect nothing less than that with this one, which it's showing. A little close to that, but again, this horse looks like he really wants to be careful. So he figured it out. This long gallop around to this nice oxer here, and then a right roll back to our double. And I mean, he just shot up over that. That was beautiful. 2 feet over it. But this nice S-turn in the middle of the course actually is pretty super for the horses. It really supples the right side and the left side. You can see he shifted a little right too on the way out. So it's just important that those riders keep the horses straight until those hind legs are on the ground, because that habit is a hard one to break. Insist on that straightness every time, even though you have a horse like this that is just super jumper, so it doesn't, lucky there at the last. But really nice round, nice rhythm the whole time around. Gave a horse a really good chance to jump a clean round, and it did so. Okay, next in the ring we have Cole Horn on Cooley Sligo. And I've known Cole since I think was about 12 years old. He was up in New Jersey and rode with the Pony Club up there, and has since kind of ventured out on to be a working student. He's down here in Florida now riding. Oh, goodness, that is just so unfortunate. Been down this winter riding with Buck Davidson. I believe he was up in PA for a while riding with Ryan Wood. So he has certainly been riding with some super trainers, and I know that this horse is a pretty excellent horse. I think its record has been very pretty super. So hopefully he can keep his confidence up and finish the course out well, because I think this horse has been a winner quite a few times. So yeah, I mean, he got him right back in front of the leg and said, come on, boy. So he's gonna need to just now taper the speed a little bit. There we go, because we talked about earlier, in front of the leg doesn't always mean fast. He had to get him going, he had to get him confident, and now he just needs to give him a bit of an accurate ride. Yeah, it's better. It's always a bit nerve-wracking when you have one that's normally quite genuine and jumps quite consistently, and then they kind of do something like that to you, because the horse obviously is a good jumper. I think it does quite well on the flat. So I think Cole is hoping to just successfully get this round completed and get his 3-day completion, and then regain some confidence. You know, and that's the thing sometimes with these young horses, they have a pull, and even if they're super jumpers, they have a pull and they kind of go the other way. They get nervous and then continue to have the pulls down, which is a little bit what's happening here. So I think he'll obviously be disappointed with that, but I think they'll go back and try and regain some confidence, because Cole is a super rider and a hard worker, and this is a lovely horse. So sometimes when you kind of have to go through a little struggle, you come back twice as good, so he'll be fine. All right, and now we have Jenny Jarnstrom with Flower Girl coming into the arena. And you can see she's being very clever. She's going right by that judge's box, giving the horse a pat, saying nothing to be scared of here. You know, she knows that her horse might have a little spook when she comes around there. So Jenny already had a successful round in the 3-star earlier today. She always has lovely, lovely horses. This is Flower Girl. So again, this horse looks like it has a lot of scope. It lands about 10 feet on the backside of the jump. So I'm sure it covers the ground really nicely and easily. Yeah, it got close to the Liverpool in 7, and it did a beautiful flying change in the middle. Again, you know, the horses that can be coordinated on their feet like that, and it just is going to make the job so much easier. It's even, I think after watching as much as I've watched this weekend, I'm going to go home and make sure all of mine are the next few weeks is going to be working on a lot of flying changes, because it just gives you the upper hand and the horse the chance to jump a clean round. If you're cross cantering or counter cantering, sometimes it's just something, one more strike against you. A really pleasant round, and it's just one of those things that you watch around like that and it just makes it look so easy. The horse had a lovely rhythm. Jenny did a great job, and it just made it look like, you know, Pony Club. And then some of the greener ones come in and it it looks quite difficult. So I think she should be really pleased with that. That's a great experience for this nice horse. So now we've got Manon Davidson on Cooley Kildare, so another Cooley horse. Nice pretty gray. Oh, first one down, which is really unfortunate. And we've seen that come down a bit, which is unusual because it's just a nice ascending oxer. It's pretty much the most inviting type of jump you could have. But you know, the ring is quite, you know, it's a big ring, but there's a lot going on for these young horses, and it's kind of coming back towards the end gate, so the horses can get a little distracted at the horses in the warm-up and not quite pay attention, just maybe getting a little casual to the first, and then again having the Liverpool down. It looks like a lovely horse, nice and uphill. The connection's nice. This one just might be feeling a little tired from yesterday, honestly, because it's got a nice change. It seems to be very rideable, and she's doing a really nice job. And sometimes that just happens. They just get a little tired, and it's quite warm. Doesn't make it any less frustrating. Yeah, second one down again, which is a shame because that was a beautiful round. I mean, she gave the horse every opportunity to jump well. It was on the outline. If it just was a nice picture, so that is unfortunate, but that might be a fitness thing, you know, and until you get them out here doing it, you're not quite sure. You got to make little adjustments to your fitness plan. And if you're in Florida all winter preparing for this, you know, we're not on hills, we're on flat ground, and I've had to make some changes in my fitness plan since being here all year round, with adding in some swimming and finding some hills and whatever it takes to kind of make sure that the horses are fit enough to do the job. So this is Isabel Holden on Rebel Soul. So this is quite a nice little horse, and Isabel's a great rider. She trains and works with the laws. So I know she has a barn full of fans hoping that she has a great round here because she's a great girl and a super hard worker. So that's a bit unfortunate. And then this horse can get a little strong and opinionated down to the bases of the fences. I've seen it go before, and Isabel has to do a really good job of kind of making sure he covers the distances, but also holding him off the fences a little bit. He likes to kind of run down and run into them a little bit. And he's got plenty of scope, so it's just a matter of managing it without making him, too offended or getting him backed off, which is a fine line sometimes. It takes a lot of tact. Here we go. I mean, he jumps a jump like that, and you're shocked that the horse ever has a rail. But the pole is going to come on this horse because he's a little argumentative. Now he seems to be listening. He actually looks great now. Maybe the run yesterday and settled him down a little bit. Oh, good job. So she'll be a little disappointed from the communication of the rail at the beginning, but it finished out well, and that's the token of a good ride is this: if you finish stronger than you started. You're only going to be building in confidence. The horse is only going to be building in confidence. So an unfortunate pole in the beginning, but finished out a lot more onside than he started. So she's doing the right job. So this is Ben Noonan and Keep Kitty. So this is one of Karen's students, and she was telling me a little bit about this horse yesterday. It's a pretty great little horse. I think it did quite well in the Bundas Championat in Germany, which is a young horse championships, and some of our leading horses around the world have competed and done well there. And I think this horse is very, very talented, but it's quite small, so it actually got looked over by a few professionals over there, and Karen scooped up on the deal and said, I will take it. So I think this is working out quite well for Ben. It looks like a lovely, nippy little type. I said something to her yesterday about, I just want to ride an easy horse, one that just canters around and does the job. And she goes, you need Kitty. You need this horse. But I don't think Ben would give him up. But, I mean, just so easy. Just seamlessly gets up in the air. Easily around the turn, completely agreeable. And Ben's a lovely rider. It's a great eye, soft hand, and with a mare, that's going to go a long way. So that's very exciting for this partnership. And when you have Karen O'Connor helping you out, I think you're doomed for success. I got a little deep there. Maybe I spoke a little too soon. A little green moment, but no matter. Super round. Really lovely horse. Okay, and now we have Jamie Kellogg and Summer Bay. I see a Canadian flag. A lot of the Canadians are down here for the winter. David O'Connor is back at the helm doing a lot of training sessions and coaching these guys. So I think a lot of these riders come down for the winter in hopes of getting into some of the training sessions and taking advantage of some of the lessons. And, it really is a great place to be, to watch, to learn, and, be in one of the top competition venues to just up your game. Well, that's too bad. This horse just looks a little strong, looks a little like he wants to do just that. He just wants to run down to the fences, and not really quickly, just like a slow train sometimes. You can see her really trying to kind of sit him down and say, sit down a little bit. It's going to make your job easier to jump. And the hard part with that is that, you've got to be able to keep them on their step. You need to keep them flowing around the course. But then sometimes they can get a little bit downhill and a little bit strong, which is what he seems to be doing, is pulling her down to the base a little bit, and then it makes his job a little bit harder. So she's working pretty hard to kind of keep the balance back so that he can use his hind end to really get him up and over the jumps instead of it kind of going into the front rail, which she did quite a good job to manage that at the end. So now we have Caroline Danmiller on tops. Oh, and I like this. You can already, the horse is a great round canter. She has a nice move up to the little oxer. He just wraps around it, no problem. A little disunited around the turn there, but sorts it out. He sorts it out the last stride. And again, just that little move up at the base, which I don't mind at all, as long as it's in a nice balance. When they kind of, the last few strides, they just grow to the fences, it's just going to give them a little confidence and a little extra push off the ground. And I mean, he's just super. And look at that face. I mean, he's just loving it. And again, there's not a, there's the dialogue between the horse and rider is nice and smooth and honestly friendly. So they both look like they're on the same page and have a good relationship. It doesn't look like either one of them or want to be anywhere else other than doing what they're doing, which is a nice picture. And he's very aware of where the rails are. We were talking about scope and technique, and he's got a great little technique, and he's got just enough scope to hop up and around. He doesn't overuse it. He doesn't underuse it. He just is very efficient in what he's doing. And this is the type of horse any young rider wants to be on. Oh, I can't believe he just had that last rail. That is such a heartbreaker. I mean, that was just a beautiful round. So that's very unfortunate because that was one of my favorite rounds so far. Well, we welcome Karen back.
Hi, Sinead.
Hi. Your kid had a great round, and then we had
he got a
one.
little excited.
He got a little excited.
That's what happens when you're in your first long format
Yeah.
and you're 15 years old.
And you're doing great. I mean, he was just having a beautiful round.
He's a very talented
Yeah.
boy, but he also has a super horse, super family, so it's
Yeah.
it's exciting.
It works. Yes, we said, we being me, because I'm here alone, I said he's doomed for success. Has a good eye, good hands, a good trainer, and a good horse.
He lives and breathes eventing.
That is
He
awesome.
knows everybody in the world
I
by
love it.
watching and
Yeah,
YouTube and
all those things, all those
he can tell
online
you what your
things.
score was at Burley when you were second, I'm sure.
Oh, and he was probably 12.
No, I don't think so.
All right, we have
Leslie.
Leslie on Rock On Cooley, and this looks like a lovely horse. I was watching it on the flat and was really impressed by the model of it. He looked a little strong right there. You could see a little Leslie kind of saying, "Hey, buddy, reel it in a little bit." But that keen instinct, they're going to need it if they're going to make it to the top. So right now it's just about developing a communication that can kind of get you both at least.
I just saw the horse in the warm-up, obviously, and it's very scopy, very, very correct horse.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie, of course, is consummate professional. He does such a lovely job. Gives the horse room, is a leader when he needs to, and strong
Yeah.
enough when he needs to keep the horse exactly where the balance needs to be and the pace to give it the best chance.
Yeah. Yeah, and both Leslies are just sitting on such quality horses. I mean, you don't see them on anything common. Maybe they're a little strong, maybe they're a little green, but all of the horses are really jumping, really, really great movers. And that's just too bad.
Just really unfortunate.
Yeah.
They're on good horses now, but it's been years and years and years and years of perfecting their craft and getting the team around them so that they could have the ability to have the quality that's needed
Absolutely.
for today.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure he'll be disappointed with those 3 down, because
a
that
shame.
certainly doesn't, that result doesn't accurately describe the talent of this horse. So back to the drawing board a little bit, but I'm sure we will see that horse at the top of the leaderboard this summer and fall.
So now we have Landmarks Apollo. This is a horse that I know very well. Lauren Kiefer, she's based at Mrs. Marr's property where David and I have been based for decades now. This horse, I watched it be born. It is, it's been a beautiful horse, beautifully brought along now at the 2-star level, and he's a great mover for the dressage. Very, very clever cross country, good guy cross country. She's a little nervous about how so many rails are coming down today, so she's going to be really working on that with him. He's a big horse.
Yeah, he is a big horse. I've seen this horse quite a bit. I mean, I'm a little surprised with all the rails that are coming down.
Yeah, you know, but he sends the horses out. Like here, the horses go all the way across the
Yeah.
arena, which is a great moment for the horses to get long.
Yeah.
And then this is 2-star level, so then the riders have to put the horses together, and either you've got a younger rider that needs to perfect that technique,
Yeah.
or a younger horse that doesn't quite have that kind of
Yeah.
ability to go forward and come back.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that leads, and then everything's vertical except for the first fence.
Yeah.
You know, I mean square. I mean,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
there's a great turn to that jump, really help engage him behind. Let's see if it works.
And you can see Lauren does a super
Up
job.
front,
Oh, too
comes
bad.
down in front. Yeah, again, just
A
a
little green.
little slow off the floor, and
Lauren, you can see it. She makes excellent turns. She's always kind of turning off the outside, engaging the horse behind, so that they truly have the best chance to jump up and around the horse, even if they're a bit green, their hind legs are underneath them.
I rode this horse's mother to the 2-star level,
Oh, really?
Sunset Paradise, and when we did the Syracuse, she had 2 follicles, so we actually had 2 foals. They were twins. There's another one that is also a lovely horse.
No kidding.
So that was 1 rail down. That
Yeah,
was pretty,
she'll be okay
very,
with
very
that.
good for today's scoreboard.
Yeah, exactly.
Not too many clears
Right?
so far.
I know.
She's happy.
Yeah.
Apollo.
I think Lauren is riding enough young horses and top horses that she's got a very realistic sense of of where they're at in their training, you know,
Absolutely.
and being happy and with a smooth, nice 1 rail round with a green horse is nothing to shake
Now
a
we
stick
have
at.
Dana Cook on Glamour. Dana has improved leaps and bounds over the last 4 or 5 years. She's now it's a regular at the top of the leaderboard, and it's really great to see that all her hard work with her sponsor Hugh Wrigley is paying off.
Yeah, I mean, Dana's awesome. You know, she started again, you know, as a groom, grooming for Rebecca Howard for years, and then perfecting her barn management and her riding and all of that in the yard with Rebecca, and then kind of went off on her own and has a great team around her and some super horses, and works with Clayton. And she's just so impressive. I mean,
That
that's
same jump
unfortunate.
comes down, doesn't it?
Yeah.
She is a great story for if you want it bad enough, it will happen.
Yeah,
She really works hard.
she does, and she's just a really a great human. So it's nice to see her with a great string.
It's tough when you have a jump down early on in the course because it really makes you nervous. 4 is okay. You might still get a little piece of the prize money,
Yeah.
but 8 takes you right out. So
Totally.
and
Oh,
she has the C element
that was
just a
coming
little ahead
down.
of the motion
Yeah.
there. She just that's a
that
real
is
shame.
No, totally.
Ah,
Yeah, and she was in second in the 3-star and had a pole in the 3-star. I'm sure she still finished in the top 6, but
but that's not
You know,
second.
yeah. You know, we all
It is
doing
what
it.
it is.
You
She'll
want to
be-
win.
She's going to be there. She just
Yeah.
has to believe in herself.
Yeah. I think we've got Nielsen in here for a third time.
He also has a lot of horses.
Yeah,
I don't know this horse, Rock
I
Phantom.
don't either. Sounds cool.
Mm. Sounds like a rock group
I know. I like
or
it.
a rock dance.
A rock dance. We could make up a dance. I'm sure
make
we
it-
could do something.
I know. Bye, bye, bye.
Now that's a throwback.
That's the throwback. Sinead. One of the first times I saw Sinead was at a competitor's party at North Georgia, and they were
I had on
singing-
this exact mic.
and yeah, and she knew all the moves to the
Bye,
Rock-
bye, bye.
Rock-
This horse is Rock Phantom.
Rock Phantom. What's that? What are those? Does that band?
In sync.
In Sync. She was about 15.
So funny. So again,
dear.
another one. He just, it looks like the right type, but he just, when Nelson goes to help him a little bit, the head comes up and the legs keep going, and
Belly down.
yeah, which is going to make it hard for him to jump up and around the jumps. And again, a lot of this is coming down to just green horses and the training on the flat, like we had talked about in the dressage, making sure they accept the contact, and when you go to give a little half halt, that it comes through the whole body, because the horse is certainly hearing the half halt, but it's just not coming through the whole body.
Well, and the courses that we have right now are really developed by wonderful show jump course designers, and I think of show jumping in the U.S. as our weakness at the upper levels. We have to adapt much more of the pure show jumping methodology, right down from how you navigate your course to how to balance the horse correctly and keep
Yeah.
the pace and keep the momentum. And again, just a little bit too far forward with his upper body for the C element, and the horse runs out of room. But it's nice to see Nilsson with so many nice horses. He does a great team around him, and
Oh,
he's
yeah.
doing a really, really wonderful job, and my hat's off to him.
Yeah, and again, none of it is, these are, everything we've seen him on has been super talented. I think he'll have, again, you come out to these things and you just kind of go home and do a bit more homework and come out again until you are at the top. So this is Jeannie Clark and Famous 71.
Another hardworking
Yeah.
lady that's based down here in Florida.
Oh, it's pretty. And this is a real beautiful, again, type horse. I watched a bit of it on cross country and was really impressed by the horse.
His
and
technique
it's so nice.
is very nice in front.
And looks like he's got plenty of step and range, and still polite in the bridle and attentive and listening to what Jeannie has to say. And
But Jeannie, she's got a lot of good technique. She uses her strength when she needs to. She does it in an elastic way, so the horses, as we've seen some of the other horses, flip their head and drop their
Yeah.
belly, and she's able to use combination of aids and still be strong, but still stay elastic,
Right.
and that's such key to being an upper level rider.
yeah. I unfortunately am going to have to step out and get ready for my novice horse.
Your novice horse,
Yeah,
oh my goodness, that's
I
a
know.
shame. Jeannie just had one down at the vertical going into the vertical lines.
I missed it. I cursed it. So
That's
Karen, I'm
another
going to
one
leave
with
you
four.
to it. You're going to get to
Oh,
bring
God,
in the
can
top
I-
10.
Okay,
Okay.
do it.
Thanks,
the
you
best you
guys. I will.
And good luck on your novice horse. Those jumps can look pretty big with the babies. Okay, well, Jeannie's quite happy with that. But she'll be disappointed, obviously, with the 4 faults. But she knows she has a lovely horse for the future, and that's her take-home message for this weekend. Next in the ring is Katie Brown, Catherine Brown. She's aboard Carnaby. Whoa, this horse has super scope. Look at him jump. He's got springs in his feet. And yet he's fast off the floor but soft in the air. He doesn't run across his jump. Take that one home. Absolutely. And he's also laterally very needing to be balanced naturally. He does himself with his changes of his lead there. He stays balanced. Going a little bit out to the right, she's got to take care of that. Just a lovely type of a horse. Doesn't look overly big or small, but the step is beautiful. And as Sinead made the word range, this horse looks like he's got tremendous range. He's really not trying very hard over these jumps, which makes me definitely look forward to seeing him in the future at the 4- and 5-star level. Coming into the last, the triple combination, there's a normal 2 strides to a normal 2 strides, and he just does not, whoa, Nellie. I think they had a little miscommunication which way they were turning after the last, and she gets that done. Lovely horse, lovely rider. She does a beautiful job. That looks like a real horse for the future. Next in the ring, we have Franco SSF, ridden by Emily Scoville. I don't know this horse very well, but just starting, it looks like it's got a nice rhythm, nice balance. And so this horse, Franco, again ridden by Emily Zokel. Clear so far. Very nice so far. Coming to the double, very cleverly through there. Nice stylistic shape over a jump. Keeps a good rhythm and good balance. We have these 2 verticals, which has really been a bugger for a lot of people. She's through that very easily, and now she rolls back to the last combination, which is a triple combination. Oxer, vertical, vertical, 36 feet to 36 feet, and she's home clear. Lovely. Yeah, she'll be happy with that. Okay, our next in who has just had a salute is Caroline Martin. We're into the top 7 here. She's standing in 7th place. This horse that she rides into the ring now is Cristano Zed. Caroline has a fleet of horses. She has just come back from Wellington, where she was down there for a few weeks doing show jumping under the tutelage of Ann Krasinski. So I was down there last week watching, and she was doing the meter 45 Grand Prix, which was really exciting to watch. The highest we jump in eventing in the show jumping is 1 meter 30. So she's got her eye in over some pretty big jumps, and so this this should be no trouble for her. Her horses are very clever and very scopy. Yeah, lots of scope. Nicely so far, now down to the last combination. Easily through there. Super ride. Super ride. He's happy with that for sure. Okay, now we have Will Coleman. Another Olympic rider for the U.S. that's in this division. Will competed in the 2012 Olympics in London. He was my teammate, actually, and here he is riding into the ring today. Cooley Magida, I think he says it. Another very, very good show jump rider in eventing. He goes down to Wellington, practices quite a lot. In fact, his father did the high amateurs in Wellington for years and years, and so his influence when Will was young was fairly strong in the show jumping phase. His horses are beautifully trained, and he's a very pretty, very stylish rider. We talked before about the leads and everything. When we were talking about the horses that were more green at the lower end of this division, we saw horses that were out of balance coming to the jumps. And these guys, these pros that are in the top 10 or so, they really understand how important it is to have the correct balance for the horse and the speed. Call it rideability. The horse has to be able to go forward and come back with ease without any resistance. Coming to the last. And one more. And there he goes. That's going to hold him very well in the standings this afternoon. It can be no less than 6th place with that nice, beautiful clear round. So now that we have Liz Halliday Sharp on Dusky Abbey, she's had a great weekend. Actually, she's having an amazing spring. This girl is on fire. She has a whole group of horses. They've been competing everywhere from the 2-star courses all the way up to the CCI 4-star short. She has one horse, the De Niro Z horse, is in the final preparations for Kentucky, and I would say that she's certainly one of the Americans cited to become the U.S. national champion there. And we'd love to see a U.S. win. We haven't had a U.S. win in Kentucky at the Land Rover Kentucky 3-day event in over a decade. Very good through there. A little bit let the horse drift to the left. As the jumps get bigger, that will become more of an issue for her to work on. They're a bit of an argument, but she was able to get it done and get soft in the last stride so that he could drop his head, bring his back up, and be clever over the jump. There she goes. Super. Good ride, good ride. She also has a beautiful property down here that she opens up to the riders and the coaches and the riders. It's one of the nicest schooling cross-country courses I've ever seen. She works really, really hard at keeping the ground good, and we have actually in Ocala we have several schooling cross-country courses, and she's one of the ones that's among the best. For Canada, we have Kyle Carter now coming in. Kyle is riding Gillard Lancer. Cal's been working really hard on his show jumping. His position's really improving over the last years, and he has anchored the Canadian team for quite a long time. He has a beautiful property down here in Ocala, and he and his wife Jen, they have many students. He's been the coach of the Area 3 Young Rider team for, gosh, I don't know, probably at least 10 or 15 years. I think he relinquished that to Julie Richards last year. And he's just a super guy and a wonderful team competitor for Canada. Coming to the last. Gets the A, the B, and has it done in fashion. Really good. Okay, now it's getting very interesting. We're down to the last 3 riders. There is literally 0.4 of a point between the 3 riders. So it's critical for clear rounds. One rail is going to cost 4 faults, and yet there's 0.4 between the top 3. Good so far. This rider, Kristen Hutchins Bethany, I don't know this horse at all. Gulak HVF. She's jumping a great round. It's lovely to see so many nice young horses looking really well, looking really fresh today. That's good so far. Quite a tribute to the team out on the cross-country course. They've done a tremendous amount of work over the last several weeks on the ground here, and it really has paid off, and the horses got rewarded for a lovely footing, and they're really showing it today. The horses, a lot of horses just so fresh and look like they didn't even do a cross-country yesterday, which is always what we want to see. Oh, no. She had that B element down. Just came out of the turn a little bit behind her leg is what we call it when you come out of the turn empty and then you can't go forward to the distance you see, so you try to add and the horse catches it on the way up. He was good at the A to get it out of that, but too far away from the B and had to make all kinds of moves like Allied Van Lines to get out of there, and he just couldn't get high enough. That is going to cost her tremendously. Four faults added to her score is going to put her at a 32. And it's going to move her right down the order. What a shame for what otherwise was a lovely round. And we have Lauren Kiefer back in the irons. This time she's on Get Gowdy. This horse has been very consistently successful for Lauren. She's brought it along very nicely, very slowly. Bought this horse from Matt Flynn. Matt imports a lot of horses into the U.S. from Germany. And this is an example of the quality that he's able to bring in. As you can see, it just jumps for fun. It looks like a little ball, and it's got great springs and has a sense of the moment, meaning it has a sense of a competitive spirit that is an intangible aspect of a horse that you compete and hopefully want for high performance. And it's really the intangible in a horse that you can't measure, until you ask the question. And then it's a question of how much heart does a horse have? How much want do they have to know that they are not to touch the jumps because they understand the game? And how important a rail down is going to affect the ultimate score. And it's hard to understand if you're not a rider at the higher levels to understand that a horse can have that spirit and can understand the sport, that they are triathletes and they have to be good at all three phases. Wow, she did that in style. That was wonderful. That was awesome to see. Beautiful round. She's going to be thrilled with that result. Well done, Lauren. She's had a great weekend here. I don't know how many horses these guys have been riding, whether it's Lauren or Kyle or Leslie. I've seen them all in Liz Halliday, Will Coleman. I've seen them all in the warm-up arenas of all three phases all weekend. So they could be running anywhere from 4 to 8 horses through the weekend. And the amount of experience they can get in one weekend riding that many horses at that level with that much quality is immeasurable. Leslie Law for the win. Clear at the first. Today he's riding Bandit Boy Deligny. Little argument there. He's got to get it finished, and he does, and he's over the third. Long way over to the fourth fence. It's all the way on the other cross of the arena, so you have to make sure you get a balance that is good enough to be able to handle this Liverpool. Got that done. Got to get that lead, which he did. Swing around. Now to an Oxer, which is a nice big jump on the course. One of the bigger jumps on the course, and then immediate right-hand turn back to the combination. This horse is a little bit green about the leads, so he actually chooses to trot because he knows as a professional the importance of having the horse on the correct lead and not having it on one lead in front and one lead behind, which we call cross-cantering. There he's cross-cantering again. The sixth stride. He's trying to fit it in. Let's see if he does. And he, oh gosh, he got a hard rub. He's living dangerously. He's got 3 more to go. An A, B, C. Let's hope he gets the horse. It's a big horse. Hope he gets him small enough. No, didn't happen. He had the B element down. It looked like that was going to come because he was losing what we call the rideability. And he jumped in over the A element with a horse that was too big to handle the distance between A and B. What a shame. Tell you what, though, Leslie's riding beautifully. He's had a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing him at Kentucky. And we congratulate all of the riders that were in this division. It's very, very, very hard to have a top placing. It was so competitive. So there. A wrap. We had so many horses here at Ocala. We were able to live stream the FEI classes. I hope you enjoyed it. We have some wonderful, wonderful horses in the United States, American owned, with great riders that are going to really pave the way for the future. Some of these horses you saw today, you'll be seeing them at Kentucky's, you'll be seeing them at WEGs, you'll be seeing them at Olympic Games. And let's hope they're standing on the podium and we see the American flag waving. We're over and out. Have a great rest of the day, and thank you for watching.
Florida Horse Park was actually created in 1996 under the Department of Agriculture. It was reorganized in 2005, but it really didn't take off until about the last 5 years. I think the Florida legislature kind of realized how valuable the park was to the community, to Marion County, and to Florida itself. So they kind of started supporting it, and we're very excited to get their support and continue the growth.
I'm really excited about some of the recent changes here at the park. The new arenas, the Martin Collins Klopp Fiber arenas, were a huge added benefit and will allow us to bring in better, bigger shows, especially for dressage eventing and the hunter jumpers.
Our goal is to obviously create an international competition facility that encompasses all breeds, all disciplines. We've got plans to promote the education of agriculture and the equine disciplines. and just make the facility just an all-out facility for the people of Marion County, the people of Florida, the United States, and the international community.
I've been coming to the park for years. My wife rides and competes here. I come out and ride with her as well. So working here for me is more of an opportunity to really move things forward and see a great facility grow, something that I've used for a long time myself.
New events that have never been here before, and bigger events. We're really looking to get the community involved and be part of the team.
For me, the Florida Horse Park is a sign of economic growth. So the more advanced we get as the Florida Horse Park, the more business we bring to the economy.
We have 5K runs, we have festivals, we have rodeos, we have car shows, we have war reenactments. We literally have something for everybody, and that's what truly makes the park unique.
We get people from Barbados, from all over Europe, everywhere, and it's wonderful. And all the different events and horses they bring along with them.
We're welcoming back Jay Hambley as course designer and builder. Jay is building for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Jay has also built 2008 Beijing Olympics. We're also excited to welcome back veteran course builders, Tommy Neneman and Mark McCleary. They've been at the park for years, so we're excited to have them back.
We have a airway aerator that we just got to help improve our footing, keep everything as soft as possible for the competitors. We also have 600 yards worth of irrigation line that we can move to just about anywhere out on the cross-country course. And we can get it to almost anywhere on property to help irrigate the grounds, keep things looking green, and also keep the footing soft on the courses.
We really encourage spectators to come out for every show, but especially the eventing shows. It's basically the triathlon, but for horses. We have 3 different phases: dressage, show jumping, cross country. Saturdays are the best day to come because all 3 phases are running and you can see a little bit of everything.
Even though we are located in the horse capital of the world, Marion County, we are definitely Florida's horse park.
With a story that started with the love of the horse, Seminole Feed continues to push the highest of industry standards. Manufactured in the horse capital of the world, our equine-only mill in Ocala provides the safety and quality our horse customers have come to know and expect since we began in 1934. Performance for you means a horse that's happy and healthy. Seminole Feed, the world's best equine feed.
Tack Shack of Ocala. What makes horse people happy? What makes them want to ride? What keeps them looking for the best and feeling good inside? You'll find everything you're looking for at Central Florida's greatest store. It's so much fun to come explore the good stuff that you're after. Tack Shack of Ocala, the horse lover's candy store.
Out here, we're hostile, cold, and cruel. Our way of life. There's no better way to live. Guts, glory, Ram.